Hey, what's up, y'all? It's popping into D. About to react to this vid by Naomi Cannibal. This is Frank should have quit Coachella. He got a lot of pushback for this whole situation. I don't know all of the details, but I do know that after I reacted to that last video that Sean C put up about the situation, he ended up pulling out for the second week, and there was more drama. So we're gonna get more tea about this situation. Let's watch.
Hello and welcome back to my channel. So just last week it was announced that sadly Frank Ocean dropped out of weekend 2 of Coachella. And I think he's been slated to headline the festival since like 2019 or 2020. So a lot of people have been expecting to see him for years, so it is kind of sad that things turned out the way that they did. I think even with some of the negative reviews from his weekend 1 performance, people still didn't expect him to drop out of the festival entirely for the following weekend. So of course in the video I do want to get into sort of what happened and also talk a little bit about both sides of being, kind of upset about this, try to, shed light on both sides of the argument. As most of you know, Coachella is one of the biggest, if not the biggest musical festival in America. The festival, which started in 1999, began as a smaller, more intimate event.
It's just so overrated. Y'all just are so influenced by social media, but it's like, I've never been, so I'm only going based on, the crowds, what the crowds look like, and the lineup. I think the lineup is very, very important. Unless you actually listen to that type of music and you are very familiar with a lot of those artists, I don't think you should just go just for the fashions and just to be seen. I think that's so weird. Go to a festival because you like the music. The only festival that I like is Rolling Loud. That's it.
Lost weekend, if you will, where fans can spend a weekend in the desert with their favorite bands. In recent years, the event has become more commercial, and aside from music, Coachella is now also a networking event and place to be seen. This has become especially so with the rise of influencer culture, with some saying the event is like the influencer Olympics. However, this exposure works for the artists too. Smaller artists benefit from fans being at the festival all day and checking out other acts instead of leaving the grounds. The event can also be wonderful exposure for foreign artists. And in cases where these artists already have a big American fan base, it can make sense to perform at Coachella because there's a higher likelihood their fans are concentrated in one area. Even for seasoned performers like Beyonce, the festival is the place to show your best in front of the entire world. It can also be a way to put on a show outside of the typical setup of their tours, where they can create a unique, explosive experience for fans over the 2 weekends. Headlining Coachella is a massive honor, and the performance is reserved for the final slot of each night. Each year, 3 headliners are chosen to perform on the same day of both weekends of the festival.
See, who are these fucking people? I know, of course, all of the headlines. Actually, I ain't gonna lie, I don't know who this is. Tame Impala, I have no idea who that is. So most of the people at the top I know. But when it get down here, who? And even some of these people at the top, I don't know. I don't know these fucking people. Dylan Francis.
Headlining shows typically are the largest and most anticipated performance of each night. And the headliners, of course, do receive top billing for the event. So whatever happened at Frank's performance would have been bad regardless, but it was even worse considering he was the headliner. Seems like the first alarm bell rang when it was announced just hours before Frank's Sunday night performance that it wouldn't be live streamed. Typically, performances, especially the headlining performances, are live streamed on YouTube for fans to watch. Artists can opt out of this for several reasons, but it typically is negotiated in advance. Fans worldwide were especially excited to watch Frank headline since it was his first live performance since 2017. YouTube hastily announced his performance wouldn't be live streamed via Twitter, but did not give an explanation as to why. I want to insert a TikTok of Jordan T. Alexander talking about how the lack of live streaming was a misstep. And all of this is alleged and speculation, of course.
First thing I thought about, because everyone's been talking about their Strict Act, TikTok, all this stuff, is the fact that YouTube should have had exclusive rights to stream Frank Ocean's set, but he said no to them, and then it still inevitably was able to be streamed by their competitor, TikTok. And not only that, Meta was technically able to stream Frank's set too, but YouTube, who should have again had exclusive rights, wasn't able to.
As the TikTok points out, Frank's performance was live streamed anyway, coincidentally through TikTok, which was to be expected. TikToker Morgan Doesn't Care captured one of the best recordings of the performance, streaming to over 130,000 people. She, like others, flew to the festival specifically to see Frank. She said people bullied her in the live stream for sending updates regarding the delayed performance and for mentioning that she was an aspiring artist. Frank started his set over an hour late. When he finally came on, he seemed detached from and disinterested in the performance. At some points, Frank didn't even have his mic in his hand. He and his band performed several covers, and there was a DJ there that was seemingly random. The arrangements of several songs were changed, which was disappointing considering he hadn't performed the original versions in years, and some of the songs that would have been his first time performing them live. In addition, the people walking around on stage seemed oddly placed as if they were confused. Parts of the stage were obstructed by large video screens, and some fans complained about not being able to see or hear the performance unless they were directly in the front. Overall, the performance was confusing, lackluster, and seemed unrehearsed. Several upset posts and comments said it seemed like Frank wasn't taking it seriously. Others said it was more of a listening party or a karaoke than a concert.
Hey, 1 hour. It's over. 1 hour, Ellie.
It's over too. My heart hurts, and not in a good way.
Though he arrived late, Frank ended the show early as he had run past the midnight curfew established by the city. On Fridays and Saturdays, the curfew is 1 a.m. Coachella's promoter Golden Voice is fined whenever the performances run past curfew. The initial 5 minutes results in a $20,000 fine, and every minute after that is an additional $1,000. The festival ran over all 3 nights on weekend 1. Bad Bunny went 25 minutes over on Friday, Calvin Harris went 22 minutes over on Saturday, and Frank Ocean went 25 minutes over on Sunday. This resulted in Golden Voice being fined $117,000 for the weekend. Because he ended his set early, Frank never performed Thinking About You, which is his most popular song. Frank ended the set by saying, "Guys, I'm being told it's curfew, so that's the end of the show. Thank you so much." It came out the following day on Monday that originally there were supposed to be ice skaters skating around Frank and his band. These were the people who were walking around him on the stage. However, just hours before the performance, Frank called this off. There are different reasons that people claim this happened. According to the Festive Owl, the ice rink for the stage setup had already been constructed, and Frank changed his mind last minute. Because of this, the skaters who had practiced for weeks just walked around him. The stage had to be melted and deconstructed and then reset how Frank wanted it, which was what caused the hour delay. The Festive Owl also pointed out that aside from the fans, the people who really lost here are the skaters who practiced and the people who worked hard on the stage and everyone else who was helping Frank work on his performance.
Awesome at the same
These are
time.
people's livelihoods and their work on these big productions.
I was wondering that too. I'm like, what the fuck? Where's the relevance in this? Why would there be an ice rink around him while he's performing anyway?
Can help them secure other jobs. Someone who worked on the stage said they and others were upset that their hours of hard work would go unnoticed because of a last-minute decision. Later in the day, a statement came from Frank's camp saying the stage was changed last minute to account for an injury Frank got during rehearsals, and Frank was insistent on still performing. He was sitting during the performance, but made the choice to get up during the other parts, which seems like an odd choice for an injured person. Because it's not like Frank's music really necessitates him moving around a lot on the stage. You can be chill and still be trying and have a captivating stage presence. And of course, a lot of people did think the injury was a lie and just a story made up to excuse the bad performance. Justin Bieber was one of Frank's most ardent defenders. He posted a picture to Instagram captioning it, "His artistry is simply unmatched. His style, his taste, his voice, his attention to detail. I was deeply moved. It made me want to keep going and get better as an artist. He continues to set the bar high and gave me a night I will never forget. Thanks, Frank." Last Wednesday, Frank pulled out of headlining Coachella's second weekend. It was initially announced that Blink-182 would headline that Sunday, April 23rd, in his spot. According to Frank, he was advised by his doctor not to perform again after sustaining a sprain and 2 fractures to his left leg. Frank said in his statement, "It was chaotic. There is some beauty in chaos. It isn't what I intended to show, but I did enjoy being out there, and I'll see you soon." By last Thursday, it was announced Blink-182 wouldn't headline that Sunday, and instead a special guest would. Now it seems like Blink-182 will play on the main stage Sunday night before Skrillex, Fred again, and Fort's Head headline and close out the festival. The trio have previously played together, having sold out their February Madison Square Garden show in less than 2 minutes. Though several witnesses and sources have given their reasons why Frank's performance went the way it did, we'll never truly know what was going on in Frank's head. Several have suggested that Frank is still recovering from the tragic death of his younger brother, who passed in 2020. Apparently, some of the songs, like the version of Life for Rory that Frank played, were in tribute to his brother. Frank did speak a few touching words in honor of his younger brother and said that he had fond memories.
I'm sorry, I don't want to sound insensitive, but it's like, that's what I don't like when people try to use tragedy as an excuse for their behavior, and that's kind of what it's given. I'm sorry. Obviously, I don't know him. I don't know his situation. I don't know anything about, what occurred with his brother, but it's just like, I think that's very odd that in 2023, you'd be like, oh, all this happened and I had a bad performance because my brother died 3 years ago. It's just like, what? It just sounds odd. I don't know.
Of attending the very same festival with him. Still, a lot of people have claimed that as with other professions, people are often still expected to do their jobs regardless of circumstance. But I do think if Frank knew he wasn't ready, he should have had every...
And that part too, if you know you're not ready, you should know this beforehand, right? So if you know you're not ready, why even agree and...
right to pull out of the show because his mental health and his grief are more important. However, because Frank was rehearsing for the show for weeks and a lot of the changes with the stage setup were last minute, if his performance is related to grief, which we don't know for sure, it also could have been the case where he thought he was fine to perform and then realized he wasn't after he got on stage. And there's nothing that can be done at that point, but I don't want to speak too much on this because unless Frank confirms it, we'll never even know if this is true. So
he's not saying that. People are speculating that that's
and Frank himself is citing an injury as his reason for pulling out for whatever that's worth. I think it might be a little early to determine what exactly the fallout of this performance will be. Some people have talked about whether this will be career-ending for Frank, but I don't know how true that is. I don't think I necessarily want this to end Frank's career, but I do think it should be a wake-up call if he's still serious about performing.
I doubt it.
Because no matter what, artists are not performing at Coachella for free. They're getting paid to do this and are aware that people are spending their hard-earned money to come see them perform. It's been pointed out that Frank has pulled out of festivals in the past. In 2015, he pulled out of headlining the FIF festival and was replaced by Kanye West. In a press release, Frank said he decided to cancel on his own terms. In 2017, he canceled his headlining appearance at Hangout Festival. This set was canceled due to production delays that rendered him unable to perform. Like I said earlier, some people specifically bought Coachella tickets for Frank's performance, so it kind of sucks that he didn't deliver on his set and then pulled out of the other. But on the other hand, I don't think anyone wants to sit through a performance where it's clear the artist doesn't want to be there. Someone stated that this was just how Frank performs, but I don't think that should make it excusable. And he has, without a doubt, given better performances. There are talks about whether this will get Frank blacklisted from the industry or even the festival circuit, and I really can't say. I know it's happened historically to people, but I can't remember the last time in recent music history that someone of Frank's status had a performance so bad that it ruined their career. It definitely used to happen, but if you can think of any recent cases, do let me know. At the very least, I'm sure it's likely Frank won't be performing at any more events put on by Golden Voice anytime soon. I think a lot of fans confuse their admiration for a person with the quality of their work sometimes, or even the quality of a specific song or performance. You can like an artist and still admit when they mess up or don't deliver. It doesn't at all make you less of a fan. It's obvious people were upset because they were fans, which is why they were excited for Frank's performance. I doubt people paid for a Coachella ticket or spent time at his set just to go there and hate on it.
Exactly.
Fans do have every right to express when they're upset with the show, and it's within your right to be critical of something you paid to see, and that's not at all the same thing as hating or being ungrateful. A lot of these fans were the very people that have supported Frank to enable him to even reach the status of headlining at Coachella. But honestly, at the end of the day, I do respect Frank for pulling out. If you know you can't give it your all for whatever reason, it's best to not waste people's time. It just sucks that this all had to come after one disappointing show, and then those who bought tickets for week 2 won't even get to see him either. But none of that can really be undone now, so I do think he's doing the best thing possible at this point by not adding insult to injury. Whether we feel like it's the right choice, at the end of the day, it's the choice he made, so clearly it's what Frank felt was right for him. So, of course, do let me know your thoughts.
But yeah, he should have pulled out before week 1 even started. And I definitely agree that people have a right to be upset. If they literally just bought tickets just to see him live, they flew from other states, and then he gives that, like, I would be upset too. So, to write that off as, oh, y'all hate, that is such a stupid argument. Whenever people say that, it's like, you are an idiot. You hate when people are saying, like, valid things. If you just say, I think he's ugly. Sure, you could call somebody a hater. But when they are expressing valid critiques and you're calling them a hater, you sound so dumb. It just verifies what they're saying. You have no actual rebuttal, so that's the only thing you can say, but it's such an idiotic response. You're just hating. Like, what? You put no thought into that, did you? It's just so dumb. But yeah, hopefully he gets it together, and he can perform better in the future. I do wonder if he'll actually release some newer music, though. It's been so long since he's released anything, and it's crazy how much influence he still has to this day, and he has not released anything in a very long time, so that's pretty impressive. But yeah, hopefully he gets it together. Y'all let me know what y'all think, though. Let me know what other videos you want to watch, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.